Welcome to my weekly meltdowns coverage of American Horror Story Season 5, Episode 7, entitled Flicker. What an amazing episode. We were flashbacking this episode. Flashback, back, flash up, flash down, flash sideways, and everywhere in between. We were flashbacking there. Literally. I absolutely loved how they tied the film Nosferatu into this episode. I love how they made the main non-vampire that pretty much started everything with everyone, the guy that directed Nosferatu. What's his name? F.W. Murnau? Monroe? Emily, whatever. The point is, that was pretty cool, and I really loved it. Have I mentioned how much I loved this episode yet? I love that, what's his name? Valentino and his wife, Natasha, were the ones who made Countess Elizabeth a non-vampire. I love the fact that James March got so pissed off over the potential running away together that he took Natasha and Valentino and put them in the walls of the Hotel Cortez. Dude, they were in the freaking walls. And, you know, he did it because he didn't want to lose the Countess. Oh, the things we do for love. Sometimes you gotta lock someone away in a makeshift prison just to keep them away from your significant other. It's just, oh. Before we get really into it, I missed Liz Taylor this episode, but Iris really made up for what we missed, especially with the whole some new house guests were interested in asshole bleaching ointment. Line of the night. I couldn't pick my own asshole out of a lineup. How does anyone even know what's going on down there? And yes, according to the Dirty Sex Dictionary.com, people really fucking bleach their buttholes. And yes, there really is something called the Dirty Sex Dictionary. And yes, in it is anal bleaching, or otherwise referred to as intimate whitening. And this is the real ass, can't make this shit up definition. A cosmetic procedure in which chemicals or lasers are used to lighten the darker skin around the anus in order to make it match the lighter skin of the buttock. The process originated with female porn performers. They totally left that out of Boogie Nights. It is also used on drunk housewives, gay men, and bridesmaids. Well, somebody's definitely getting laid at that reception. Anyway, John Lowe finally checked himself into a mental institution, but not for the reasons that we thought. Okay, he's finally coming to grips with it. He's fucking nuts and needs real mental help. No, nay. He checked his ass into the mental institution because that is where the real Ten Commandments killer is being held, because they actually caught the Ten Commandments killer. That kind of reminds me of how you never see or saw LaToya and Michael Jackson in the same room together. I'm just saying. So he dupes the dumbest security guard on the planet So after he knocks out Paul Blart, mental institute security guard, he gets the keys, he goes in the room, and he finds Ren, the little girl that lives with Countess Lady Gaga. So apparently she's been helping John commit all these murders. Oops, I meant the Ten Commandment killer. She's over it. She doesn't want to be non-vampire anymore. You know, she's done. She's over. She's like, look, if you get me out of here, I'll take you home. Oops, I meant where the Ten Commandment killer lives. And like the whole time they're having this like exchange of staring at each other's eyes, the little girl is like, dude, why do you keep referring to yourself in the third person? It's getting kind of weird. But oh wait, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that he's the Ten Commandment drill bit dildo killer. But okay, you get me out of here. I'll show you where he is. So they get out, and I just want to point out the security has no idea what is going on. Paul Blart's passed out on the floor, and nobody has any idea after about maybe 15 or 20 minutes that maybe there's a fucking problem. John Lowe did not hit that guy that hard that he would be passed out that long. Just saying. But anyway, Ren is like telling Detective Lowe, I'm really gonna miss you, and I still don't get why you're referring to yourself in the third person, but thank you for getting me out. I'm gonna go in the middle of the street, and I'm gonna go out Meet Joe Black style. I'm just gonna get pummeled by a dump truck. So that's the end of that. Thank God. So we got a fuck ton of backstory with Lady Countess Gaga. She worked in the film industry in the 20s. She met Valentino, fell in love with him and his wife, and they were non-vampires. We already established how Valentino became a vampire. Well, he fakes his death, and he's gone forever. And in the meantime, you know, Gaga is depressed and sad, tries to jump out a window. James March saves her, and he's like, oh my God, you are one fucked up bitch. Hey, let's get married. So they get married and come to find out that she dresses up in black and visits Valentino once a month. Anyway, Valentino shows up with Natasha. He's not dead. Hey, we're going to make you one of us, one of these non-vampires, and meet us at the train station tomorrow, and we'll go run off and live together and be young and beautiful and non-vampires. James March not having it, as I established earlier. He imprisons them in the walls of the Hotel Cortez for like 90 years, and they get nasty and funky and live off rats. We've all seen an interview with the vampire, so we know what it does to a vampire's body. Oops, non-vampires. When they feed on animals. I just want to point out really quick that referring to these people as non-vampires and not calling them vampires is like The Walking Dead. No one ever says the word zombie. They only say walkers. Same thing. Same thing. So Valentino and Natasha get out of the walls when Will Drake starts remodeling the inside of the hotel, and they start feeding on everybody. And they get out, and they're all young again, and they are walking in slow motion, and they're about to cut up. Do you think maybe they might, maybe just throwing it out there, run into these psycho non-vampire sixth graders running around town? I mean, are we ever going to touch on that again? Just saying. We also found out that March and Gaga meet up once a month. They have dinner, and she announces to him, hey, I'm going to get married again. I'm marrying Will Drake. And he's all like, oh, well, you do realize he's gay. And she just rolls her eyes. She's like, yeah, I know. Everybody knows. Like, you're not paying attention last week? I had to get a fluffer, okay, just to get the deed done. So yeah, I'm aware. So he gets pissy because he knows they're out now. And he basically tells her, they've been here right under your crazy ass this entire time. And she's like, they've been here the entire time? Yeah, that's what he just said. Now he's not paying attention. What did we learn this week? We learned that the Ten Commandment killer likes to refer to himself in the third person. We now know what butthole bleaching is. You're so welcome. People were still leaving their kids in hot-ass cars in 1986. Of course, I kind of felt like she was old enough that she could have rolled the window down. Not blame shifting, just making a point. Couple of things. The actress that played Natasha, a nice lady on, I think, American Horror Story, AHS, or Obsession, asked if that was Frances Bean Cobain. And God bless, it looked just like her. But no, that was an actress named Alexandra Dradio. Anyway, she was San Andreas. And she was in the first season of True Detective. And she was in those fucking Percy Jackson movies. Another thing brought up. Evan Peters is really getting into playing James March to the point that a lot of people are starting to point out that he's got this Johnny Depp-esque demeanor going on where it is very, very Ed Wood. And not in a bad way, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, you could totally be like Johnny Depp. Like, you could take over Johnny Depp because I think Johnny Depp's done. Like, seriously. If you aren't in any American Horror Story groups, what's wrong with you? Go join American Horror Story Obsession. Go join American Horror Story AHS in parentheses. American Horror Story Junkies. American Horror Story All Seasons. There are tons. And if you are in a group I didn't mention, because there are tons, please shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out because I love talking about American Horror Story and I love doing this. And I do this because I love it. And this is the format that I choose to do it in. So please, please, please let me know and I will be more than happy to take the time to give you a shout out since you guys are generous and sweet enough to allow me to post on your pages. And while you're doing that, just go over to My Weekly Meltdown on Facebook and like and share. Go to YouTube, like and share My Weekly Meltdown. And then, if you're even more bored, go over the.memphis.darling on Instagram and Summers, SOMMERS, 1977 on the Twitter. You're not doing what you love in life. Please go out and start doing it because I want everyone to be happy and I want everyone to be doing what they love. And if that means going out and buying anal bleach and whitening your sphincter, then be my guest. Go ahead. If it makes you happy, just please, for the love of God, don't send me any pictures. Thank you so much for all your support. Everyone who watches, I appreciate it. Any and all feedback, good, bad, I appreciate it all. And I hope all of you have a good night. And I will see you in 2 weeks because we're off next week for Thanksgiving. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving and I will see you in 2 weeks. Good night.